Peace and power. Peace and power. Peace and power to everybody. Rest in power and leadership to my sister Tisha. Hashtag forever Tesh. I want to thank first of all, I want to send condolences to all of my family and all of the friends and associates and loved ones of Tisha. Send my deepest condolences. As we know, she was very beloved. She's very cared for. She's deeply cared for, and she's deeply missed. And I want to take the time to acknowledge that, because we all know that we don't often take the time to acknowledge that. Although that is the emotion that we all share. I want to thank everybody who showed up to the funeral. I want to thank everybody who spoke at the funeral. I want to also thank everybody who spoke at the funeral and shared their memories of Tisha. That was important. That was very important for us to get to know her from a different angle, and as the same angle that we also know her to be, fun. And she will always have that lasting laugh. The thing that we all control is our smiles and our cries. And we will always remember her laugh. It's a tough month for me because my sister and I, we share the same birthday month. We often celebrated the month of September, so last month was very tough. It was also equally tough dealing with all of the emotions that deals with burying the closest person to you, and also not even having answers, not having a place to heal through those answers. So, everything that I do is for answers. I've been demanding answers for myself and others for a long time. And for the past year, I've also, since Borealis had wrongfully terminated me, I have also been fighting for justice for myself, fighting to be seen, fighting to be heard, And I couldn't understand it then. And now that my sister's dead and in the grave, we don't know why. We don't know how. We don't have an answer. But what we do know is that the majority of people who bury their family, the majority of us who will one day be buried, we will know right away or within weeks answers to that death. It's going on months now. The dates are multiplying rapidly, and the sense of urgency doesn't seem polite to me. But I understand that there's other barriers in place, work, distance, lack of understanding. And that's why I try to put together a GoFundMe campaign, not just so people could donate, but that people could share the story to potential people who would donate, and that people would at least ask questions directly to the person who's running that campaign, which is me. And the idea that I believe that my sister's death is not only attached to the wrongful termination, but that it also is attached to everything that had to do with my power and leadership movement, which was also attached to my wrongful termination, right? Because those fake therapists, those fake therapy sessions that I've had there, it's been a lot about questioning about how much I know about the system. They asked me a lot about my case. Because I had a unique case, they asked me how would I go about still overturning my case, a case that I had appealed 9 times after spending during the 11 unjust years that I spent in prison, that I've buried and put behind me a long time ago, but recently learned that case is very unique and it's very important to what's happening to me, And, it's just a lot that I can't explain on camera, and there's a lot I won't, because my allies are not the only ones watching. I might be making a video for you, but, You're not the only ones watching and listening close. And the problem is that actually you're not the ones listening the closest. And so what happens is that people have information before you do, and they get to taint it however they want, however they've been tainted it, however they've been tainted. I don't know how. But all that's in the dark will shortly come to light. So I want to surely thank once again. I want to thank my supporters. I want to thank the people who have donated to Tisha's GoFundMe campaign, as well as my GoFundMe campaign. As you can see, this is not about just Tisha. It's titled Justice for Tisha's Family. But Tisha is the leader. She's the leader in this case now because she's no longer here. And we don't have an answer for her death. And so the idea that the situation was going on with me that I've alerted many people of within this past year. Also, the job who had wrongfully terminated me, fully aware of the situation that was dangerous then. And they wrongfully terminated me as well as rightfully terminated the people who were fraudulent within the agency. They weren't just fraudulent to me, just so you know. The same thing they've done to me, they have done to others. As others have experienced traumatic experiences that I have experienced, please look at my other videos. I really want to make this about my supporters, giving them high shout outs, and I don't want to leave nobody out, so you know who you are. You've been there the longest, you've been there throughout. You took the time to understand the whole situation, even if you didn't, and now that you do, or rather, many of us was a part of many of these situations. And so many of us also have known me for a very long time, and I haven't changed much. One thing that I want to touch on is this. Thank you. One thing I want to touch on is this. A lot of people believe that just because people spent time in prison, that it equates to them being mentally ill. And that is an error. That is a presumption that you have and that you should not place on anyone. Another thing is, for the people that have had traumatic experiences within prison, as that is just the nature of prison itself, right? And for those people who have had that traumatic experience through the nature of prison and have come home and struggled through their reentry, what that means is that there's just a period in time of life that we have to adjust to. It's like anybody else. It's like whether you get fired from a job or you leave a job, you go to a new job. That is an adjustment that you have to make. If you lose a family member or a loved one, that is an adjustment that you have to make. If you are divorced from a relationship where you don't agree that you maybe should be divorced from, or you can't handle the divorce, that is an adjustment that you have to make. When you have a child, that is an adjustment that you have to make. When you're going to other grades, when you're achieving other things, where you're going to another state, traveling, that is an adjustment that you have to make, right? And it comes with a period of time that whatever the effect of that change, that you just have to go through it. Some of us have a lot of people that'll help us go through it. Some of us know exactly what we're going through. We can immediately provide that support. And some of us are going through something very unique, which I am going through right now, where I'm up against billionaires, millionaires, and machines. And it's been a lot of psychological attacks, so a lot of people can't see it. A lot of people can, and a lot of it has been physical and is attached. And a lot of this is well documented as well as well reported. So I really want to just say this to the people who claim to care for me, claim to care for Tisha, came to care for this situation. I'm talking about family mainly, and also other people who claim to care. I've been asking for $5 donations. I've asked for $5 donations. I had started this GoFundMe campaign. I started it at $75,000. And the reason why I priced it at $75,000 is because it's a $20,000 bill attached to funeral and cemetery burial costs. Then there's other adjustment costs, as well as the cost for legal funds, as well as the cost for autopsy, and in which we all have estimates at this time. So the axe is actually the bare minimum, as well as there's been a $10,000 deduction. So I've deducted it by $10,000. I've decreased it about a week ago from $75,000 to the axe of $65,000. These costs will result in answers. There are no answers currently because we're waiting on the state to provide those answers. And while the state does their investigation, that is also a timeline. But currently we can have our own timeline to where we believe, because of my experience, what happened to me as a black activist, having a hard time reporting crimes as a black activist, being targeted as a black activist, as well as being targeted by other black activists and other black people and other black organizations that a lot of us trust in and a lot of us get money from. So a lot of us are very confused at what's going on. I just asked for a donation of $5 from those who are confused but that want to show their love. You don't have to look at my acts of $65,000. You don't have to look at my acts of that. All you have to do is provide support in any way that you can. If it's not all about money, by the way. You can also support with resources. You can support with love, real concern, doing things that, are action-like, that one would do when they care, because it's easy to say the word I love you. It's easy to say the word I care about you. It's easy to say how you doing. You know what I mean? Nobody really cares. Do they really care? And if they do, is there something that they could do about it? Would there be something they would want somebody else to do about it if it was done? And if you're partially sharing the same experience as somebody, but you're not convinced or yet convinced, because I know many of you are just not yet convinced. If you're not yet convinced about the connection of the death, it's really because you haven't been present. We really haven't spoke about it. I have selected who I speak to it about because a lot of people, it's hard for them to gather this information, and the idea that, going back to what I said, that this situation that I'm in is very bizarre, and, the response that I've gotten from a police officer was that it sounded like I needed to see a therapist. And when that was said to me, we had a conversation, and I believe that there's a lot of different things that's going on, a lot of different factors happening here, right? But when that was said to me, I told him that he wasn't a therapist, so he's not even in a position to recommend that. That's not even a part of his job description, That's an opinion, that's a bias, and it's based off of me sharing the fact that I was targeted from my ex-employer, Borealis Philanthropy, that I was targeted by them and preyed on because of my trauma, because of trauma that the Ford Foundation had caused, that I had spoke out about there, about why I even protested against Ford and how I never even spoke about my personal situation, but spoke up for other women to try to get them to understand why they should not, co-sign new $11 billion jails right here in New York City. So the idea that when I try to report the crime against these corporate criminals, it's not that I'm just reporting it. I have proof. I have evidence. They're not even asking some of them to see the evidence. They're just automatically listening to me. See how I'm dressed with a hoodie, with a fitted hat. They automatically, when I'm dressed like this and have called them, they automatically assume that once I report crimes against a corporation, that I have to be crazy to think that they're still thinking about me after I got wrongfully terminated. And then when I begin to tell them about the satanic cults, that the training that they try to send me to, and that I had found on Instagram and the things they put in, the things that they were doing. They're like, it sounds crazy. It sounds like I need to see a therapist. So I'm like, man, listen, I told you what I told him. He's not a therapist. But most importantly, this shit is crazy. It's crazy that I'm experiencing this. I don't want to feel this special. A lot of times when I feel fucked up behind this, the fact that a lot of people who are in the position to do what they need to do to find these people, to get them to stop, that they're like the obstacles, they have been rather, the obstacles to getting results, getting answers, getting the people who's behind these crimes. And one of the crimes I try to report is attempted murder. That's why I got these people involved in the first place. Once it rose to the level of attempted murder, y'all wilding. And so for 3 months, trying to report crimes of attempted murder, I would only try to report them additionally when additional separate incidents would happen. And when those different separate incidents would happen, I would include what's been happening to show that this is a continuation of something, right? 17 times, by the way. And now my sister's dead. And she's just mysteriously died. So once again, I do ask people to donate $5. Please don't think that I'm asking you to donate $5. And this is towards family. Don't think that I'm asking you to donate $5, family. And if you really donate $5, that I'm going to be like, cheap motherfucker. No, I'm not. I would rather people donate $5 than $0. And then claim to care about this situation. That's family. That's what I would rather. $5, $1, even $1. You understand? $1, 65,000 times is $65,000. So $1 goes a long way. But I'm asking for $5 because $5 also goes a longer way, and it's also not much. It's not much, and I don't want to say it's not much because that is a lot to a lot of people. So I'm not talking about for the people that it is much for. Also, there's other barriers. Even if you do have $5, some people have other situations that's occurring, and why they can't translate the funds to the GoFundMe. A lot of people are not even tech savvy. That's not for nobody. No shots for nobody, but that is the case for a lot of people. And I want to say to those who don't know, when you donate to the GoFundMe, you can donate anonymously. Many people have donated anonymously. And thank you once again to my supporters. Thank you to my supporters. Thank you to the people who know me. Thank you to the people who are doing everything that they can to get the support that we need for Tisha. And more of us will be coming on board. So I'm not mad at anybody right now. There's always time. As long as we have time, we could jump on board. I'm just putting it out there. You receive it how you receive it. I wanted to continue to keep people updated. And one of the updates that I have is I had a conversation with a relative recently, and we had some tough discussions, and I liked it because that lets me know where the GoFundMe campaign is and why it is where it is, how it is. So let me tell you this: when I first put out the GoFundMe campaign, I had highlighted a key factor about my sister's daughter, who she is survived by, who is 7 years old. And then I removed it after like 2 weeks, right? And then I made it about Tisha. But it's always been about Tisha and the connection to my case, but it was also the current situation at hand. So I've removed it because I know that a lot of times people like to judge and criticize and say, oh, people are trying to make it about the kid, so I didn't want to do that. I took it off. But it is about the kid, by the way. She's the one that lost her mother. She's the one who was the only witness while all of this was going on. So it definitely is about her. Nevertheless, once I removed it, I started getting negative feedback anyway. And I respect people's feedback, negative or positive, because it's what you think, it's what you feel. So I processed it. And I understand that a lot of people are on different levels, and a lot of people don't know me. They don't know me, and the things they think about each other, and the things black people think about each other is poor things that we think about each other, right? That goes along with the self-hate, by the way. Self-hate is not even just self-hate for yourself, it's also self-hate for people that look like you. And people that look like you, that you believe that you're better than, or that you're striving so far and fast to be better than, just to say that you're better than, or whatever else comes with that. Only y'all know. But part of the criticism that I want to speak about is this, because I had mentioned this before, right? Which was, a lot of people are thinking that the $65 that just changed to $65 a couple of weeks ago. I changed it. It's not, this conversation happened after I changed it, by the way. But it was originally $75,000 X. And like I said, I've removed some things off of there that I planned on doing with the extra $10,000. And so that is why that $10,000 has been deducted. The $65,000 X, again, is going towards legal fees. It is going towards the burial costs and debt of burying my sister, which is $20,000. It is going towards all of the situations and the expenses that had to go dealing with that comes after burying somebody, all those adjustments. But most importantly is an independent autopsy, as we still have no death, no answers. So at the end of the GoFundMe, it also states that, I would also keep people updated. That is the goal, to understand what happened to Tisha. And also, it is my goal and my Day One supporters' goal, and everybody who cares about me and my situation's goal, to find out and to find the people and hold the people accountable for what they've also done to me. Regardless of what, there will be answers. It's just the delay of answers, and it's what kind of answers. Do we get the right answers? Do we get the wrong answers? I'm looking for the right answers. I'm not trusting in a state that has failed to overturn my conviction so many times, as well as, failed to report these crimes against me because of who I'm reporting it against, which is big corporations. And so the idea that now my sister's dead, regardless of if I feel like it's related to mine or not, there's still no investigation, because there's a lack of concern for black women and the death of black people, black bodies. This is not new information. It shouldn't be new information. It's just unfortunate information and continued information. The fact that it's affecting so many different people in our black community, and that we all have a story to relate to, so much to the point that I think we're so desensitized when we hear another story in another case asking for money for a campaign to find out answers for a black body. This is why I've been asking for donations of at least $5, because I know that it's an affordable range, and I know it can go a long way. And if we come together, many answers can be found, and many answers can be found accurately, because we'll be able to hire the people that work privately and that understand why they take on the jobs of working privately in the first place. So that's one thing. The other thing is the criticism with people and how they perceive me. Like, this idea that I hope that a GoFundMe isn't a come up. That because I'm asking for $65,000, that I think that is a come up. Okay. Let me explain something to you. And to the people like you. And the people that think like you. And I'm talking not just about the people. People think whatever they want. I'm talking about the family members who claim to care about this situation. I'm not denying that you care. But how do you show that you care? It's not even, again, those who have donated and put towards whatever, and not even just put towards anything, their effort, their love, their support, or those who have showed at the funeral. I'm talking about the people who had told me to put out the GoFundMe in the first place. I'm talking about all these other people who's portraying and acting like they cared just to gain information about the situation. Like, this is not a gossip situation, and my life is not a movie. I hate that I even have to be out here making a video. Like, anybody who knows me, really knows me, knows this ain't me. It just became me because I had a message. And I had to deliver that message, and this is the way we deliver our messages today. I'm born in a time we didn't have this. I may look very young, but I'm born in the 80s. We didn't have all of this. You know what I'm saying? So we from the 80s, from that era, we know how to adjust without this. So my thing is this. Since I've come home, all I've done is continue to do what I did in prison. While I was in prison, how I turned my time into an associate's degree, right? And then I came home and I went and I was working full time, and I was going to school full time for criminal justice and human rights. And it took me 3.5 years to get my bachelor's degree after having my associates. You know, average person takes them 2. Doesn't matter. It took me 3.5, but still, nevertheless, I earned my degree. I strove to get my degree and I got it. And that is the reason why I got the degree, so that I could be able to get the pay, the wage that can afford you these type of jobs. You know, the type of jobs that become career jobs, the type of jobs that you enjoy doing. It has a positive effect on your wellness, not a negative effect, because you're not somebody's machine. You know, you're working for the people. You know, and that's essentially what I was doing. So it is just unfortunate that this situation had happened to me. But I would like to read. So this is a real conversation that had took place with myself and another relative. You know, and it was a tough conversation because the belief that people have about people who are formerly incarcerated is real. And it's real discriminatory as well. And for people who are your relatives, who can be just say things just the same way that the system does, because that's the way that the system operates. The system funnels the information to the people buy into the system, and they continue to be a part of the system instead of going against it and letting it know that this is a continuation of slavery. And everybody who speaks out about it becomes a target. Anyway, I'm going to continue to speak my truth. This is who I am. This is my story. This is what's happened to me, past tense, and this is what's happening to me, present tense. And currently I have put out a GoFundMe for an ask of $65,000. And I really thank the supporters who are number one supporters. And I want to tell you supporters, number one supporters, why it is so important for your donations, for your first set of donations, because you guys are the first set of donations. What you're telling everyone else is that this situation is worth investigating. This situation is worth looking into. And when they look into it, if they deny the truth, that's on them. If they don't understand the truth, then they can ask questions to the person. They can write comments. They can not tune in if they don't really care, you know. But to the family who don't know me, and when they have known me, they've only known me as a gang member. Or when they have known me, they've only known me as a prisoner. And when they have known me, they've known me maybe when I first started coming home, right? They haven't really been a part of my transition, or they probably haven't been around me at all. You understand? And if that's the case, you have no right to have an opinion about something you haven't had a discussion with me about. You know, you can watch my YouTube videos, that's cool. You can get your information from there, that's cool. But talk to me. Stop talking about me. You understand what I'm saying? That's the best thing to do, is just talk to me. Because a lot of you are hesitant with putting this money inside of the GoFundMe. Money that you do have, money that you're not going to miss out on, money that you're really willing to give up towards the situation. But because it's me running the campaign, and that I'm asking for $65,000, I was told by a relative that I hope you know that GoFundMe is not a come up. Okay? That's a real conversation. Because a lot of people, they really do be doing that shit. That's the bottom line. And the fact that black people is just going to automatically assume that about other black people is really the reason why I just came from philanthropy, right? Let me tell you something else that was said before I get into this philanthropy conversation. Another thing that was said to me is that I hope that you know, if I donate $5, that people are going to want to know where that money came from. Like what you're going to do with the money. They're going to want to show for it. That's a real conversation as well. And there's a lot of people, they're speaking for a lot of people, so I'm happy to answer that for them as well. Number one, since I put out the GoFundMe, this is information I have never changed on the GoFundMe, which is, since I put out the GoFundMe, I have put it at the ending, towards the ending of the GoFundMe, that I would continue to keep people updated. Obviously, that is a goal. Another thing is that I had told people to donate to the GoFundMe in the beginning. First of all, yeah, this is to all the people who talking about they hope that I know that this GoFundMe is not a come up. Of course I know this GoFundMe is not a come up. You understand what I'm saying? I know what this GoFundMe is for. That's just your perception of who you think or what you think I'm trying to do. That has nothing to do with me. You understand what I'm saying? My supporters know what I'm trying to do, and everybody who's going to be supporting in the future know what I'm trying to do. Those who haven't even seen the story yet, you know what I mean? It takes a lot of people. Anyway, I'm about to read this email. It's not an email. I'm about to read. I'm about to read my pay wages, because people will sit talking shit about. They hope that they know that this GoFundMe is not no come up. Of course I know this GoFundMe is not a come up. Why would my sister's death be a come up? The closest person that I was to, the closest person, the person that loved me the most, probably the person I loved the most as well. You understand what I'm saying? Why would I think that any money off of that death would be a come up? That's nonsense, and don't you ever in your life say that again. And anybody who got that to say, don't even bother. All right. Because that's just your opinion, your perception, like I said. So nevertheless, it is a real opinion. It is a real fact that people think this way. And this is the reason why I was doing the job that I was at Borealis, where we were giving money and funding millions of dollars to black people, black leaders that never get money, because they have this idea that black people don't know what to do with money. And it's just not the truth. So we've already invested they've already invested $93 million. Borealis has already invested $93 million into these type of issues and situations anyway. So here's what I have to say for the people who are acting like 65 grand is a come up. All right, I have a $20,000 debt from burying my sister. That's a debt that I have paid through my credit card, okay? It's a debt that I have to pay off for the rest of my motherfucking life until I get the money. And I will get the money eventually, obviously, at work. Get money, you understand what I'm saying? But how long is that going to take? It's going to take a while. That's to pay off that debt. That's one thing. And then the other thing is the urgency of getting the independent autopsy, as well as the legal fees to get a lawyer to have these things investigated. So let me read another thing from my job that a lot of you don't know, because I haven't shared, nor have I ever flaunted on my money. I've given away a lot of money to homeless people, to people I don't know, to mothers for rent, like a lot of different situations. I've just blown money on people in their situations. So I'm not saying nobody owed me nothing, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying the way that I handle money with situations, especially situations like this, $5, if somebody was asking me for $5, but that's just me. So anyway, check this out. I'll read it. Probably can't see it. I'll show it somewhere later. Alright, check it. Borealis Philanthropy is pleased to offer you the position of Program Associate Criminal Justice Reform Initiatives. I'm attaching a job description for your reference. This position, which starts November 8th, 2018, is a full-time position that initially reports to Vice President of Strategies and Program. As of January 1st, 2019, the position will report to the Director of Criminal Justice Initiatives, as I was the only one on the fund developing that fund initially. Your starting salary would be $65,000 a year, plus benefits. I'm attaching a summary of current benefits. I am thrilled that you are joining Borealis Philanthropy and look forward to working with you. Sincerely, Borealis Philanthropy. Damn, let me see if I can see that 65, since this is what y'all concerned about. In other words, yeah, see that 65? That's what my starting salary in my last job. So when y'all see $65,000 to me as a come up, thank you. I really appreciate it because it's a compliment, something I did accomplish. Thank you. That was as a result of getting my bachelor's degree in criminal justice and human rights, as well as all the other work that I've put in, working in East New York, Brownsville, and servicing my communities, as well as things that I've done, mentoring the youth in Maxwell High School. You understand what I'm saying? Preventing kids that's on the verge of being kicked out, from going from being kicked out to going into prison, and educating them and helping them develop their creativity. By the way, that's all I need to say. Now, October 17th, 2019. Congratulations on your first year with Borealis Philanthropy as Program Associate for the Criminal Justice Initiatives. We thank you for your hard work and dedication. Effective on your anniversary date, November 1st, 2019, your salary will increase 3% from $65,000 to $66,000, $950.60. I look forward to, make sure she goes. I look forward to continue to work together. Sincerely, Borealis Philanthropy. This is April 1st, 2019. Congratulations. We wish to inform you that Borealis Philanthropy is offering you a $2,500 retention bonus. It's not Christmas. I said it's April 1st, 2019. It's not April Fool's Day. It's April Fool's Day, but it's no fool. Congratulations. We wish to inform you that Borealis Philanthropy is offering you a $2,500 retention bonus. This bonus will be paid April 5th, 2019, as an addition to your semi-monthly payroll. I look forward to continue to work with you. Sincerely, Borealis Philanthropy. Which is the president. By the way, I'm not giving names. Oh, y'all wanted to see that one too? Y'all really want to see that one too? This one is important. Just remember, I got fired June 2020. Look at all these increases I've been getting. February 10th, 2020. I got wrongfully terminated, but they're giving me so many increases. Okay. As a part of his commitment to fairness and equity in his employment practices, Borealis Philanthropy is in the process of analyzing his pay practices and structures. This is important. Pay attention. As part of this analysis and in anticipation of certain other changes within the organization, Borealis has decided to increase your compensation. This change will be made to your annual base salary. The effective date for the outlined changes will also be your new annual flat rate increase date. Please note, it is anticipated that the annual flat rate increase program will be reverted back to a merit-based increase program in 2021 with the introduction of a new performance evaluation program, and we do not anticipate offering flat rate increases in 2021. All standards up. Please see the following breakdown of salary changes. This is where it becomes personal. Current annual salary, $66,950. Compensation increase amount, $2,504. Flat rate increase amount, $2,084. Your new salary will be $71,538. This is for the people, once again, who are saying that the acts of $65, that they hope that I know that is not come up money. Once again, thank you for your compliment, because I already had my come up money and you've never even known it. You understand what I'm saying? Because all I've done with it is help other people. Now I'm in a situation where I'm asking for help, and I'm hoping that the help is more so for Tisha. For those who don't understand a lot of other things, just support for that situation, because the burial cost is, again, $20,000. We hope that these changes will have a positive impact on staff. HR will be available to provide support and answer questions in an appropriate manner. Compensation and information related to this shift is highly sensitive and personal in nature. Your supervisor has been informed about the general components of the equity program and should be able to provide support with general questions you may have. They are aware that an equity-related shift is taking place for you, but have not been given specific details surrounding your individual HR files as HR files and personal. Borealis asks that you treat this information as sensitive and personal, and that there's no obligation to disclose or share compensation information with anyone outside of HR. Additionally, we ask that employers maintain confidentiality of not yet disclosed changes to the organizations that have been discussed with you on an individual basis. Borealis will continue to evaluate its pay practices and maintain its commitment to employees. Additionally, changes may be made to Borealis as it continues to review its practices and strategies for the future of the organization. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, Vice President of Operations and HRT. So as of February 10th, 2020, just 3 months prior to being wrongfully terminated, they had just given me another $2,500 increase on my salary. And now my salary is $71,000. Again, these are personal files. This is my personal business. It's not for me to be sharing with anybody. It's not for me to be flexing on anybody. I'm definitely not flexing. I definitely don't even have that now. I'm like flat broke. I'm all the way in debt, and I'm sitting here making videos so that people could support a GoFundMe, so I could not only pay off that debt, but also the debt of burying my sister, but also, finding out answers for all the crimes that has been happening against me. And that people would think that somebody, that $65,000, first of all, is a come up, but most importantly, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm not offended because people don't know, the person who said it don't know me, and anybody who insinuates that definitely don't know me. But I also know that there's a lot of hesitance of why people haven't been donating from the family. You understand what I'm saying? So if that was a barrier, just wanted to let you know that I've been handling 65 bands, I've been handling that. And this again, there will be updates to anybody who donated. Obviously,